coaches? Welcome back to Coach Johnson's YouTube channel. We talk about the power rate, the air raid, spread offenses, and also the coaching profession in general. So today, I'm gonna get back to a little bit of a program building and a little bit of a treat to talk about when we went 0-10 last year. And I put out a video about 0-10, now what? Well, jump ahead a whole year and we went 6-4, made the playoffs, played a really good team in the playoffs, and ended up being 6-5. So I've created a PowerPoint presentation to kind of try and outline what we did, how we were able to make this transformation, and I hope you enjoy it. Please continue to subscribe on the channel, hit a like, give me any comments. Like I said, you can always hit me up if you want to have a long conversation, either through email, through my Twitter, but kind of let's get into it. So kind of outline our season. We went 6-4, first winning season in 5 years. And I think that was COVID season. And then before that, it had been 7 or 8 years. That amount of wins was the same as the previous 4 seasons. It's the first playoff appearance in 8 years. The biggest one that is going to blow people's minds that we had a 461 point differential from last year to this year. So we were 121 this year. So, probably about 10 points us over the other opponent per game. Last year we were at 340. So if you do that kind of math, we are almost, at 20 points per contest of a change. Our offense, we went from 6 points a game to 30, 150 yards to 350 yards. We had the most passing touchdowns in the school's history, number 2 all-time passing in school history, and the most points scored in regular season since 2004. And our yardage during the regular season average was the most in school history. So arguably right up there with, first, second, third place of the 25-year history of our school. And I had talked about it before, Green Hope didn't exactly have the best reputation. They had twice where they were the longest losing streaks ever in the state. So there's not a reputation for winning a lot. So what we did is something a lot different. This is only, I think I counted up 5 winning seasons in over 25, 30 years. So that tells you a little bit of where we were at. So we posted 4 shutouts, no student referrals, no eligibility, no grade issues. So everything that we were trying to do as a program, we took care of. I talked about the problems we had last year of kids not coming to school, having tardies, being into our ISS, doing things that they shouldn't be during school. None of that happened this past year. Matter of fact, nothing of that happened since we started workouts January 23rd last year. And just so everybody understands, we don't have a bunch of D1 guys. We didn't have a bunch of transfers. We had 1 kid transfer in. All right, and then also we had 1 kid that got voted by our coaches that were a legit all-conference kid. So I just want you to, we finished 5th in conference, 7 points away from being 8-2 and finishing 3rd in conference, scored the most points against the conference winner, and we got 1 kid all-conference. So that just tells you what we're trying to do as a program. We don't have all the Jimmys and Joes. We just really believe in what we're doing as a program. We're a family and we love each other. So things that changed. I just said the family, the brotherhood. We spent a lot of intentional time with culture building, character lessons, and then building our program, teaching the kids how to build a program, what it meant to be a leader. We had our phrase for the year as soon as we started our workouts, which, I talked about I think it was in the summer, right at the end of our spring ball, how much percentages our guys went up and how much faster they got. One thing that we talked about was all gas, no brakes. And I know everybody says that that's cliche to use, but we really did it because what we did was our G stood for grit, our A was for all in, and our S was for sacrifice. And then the no brakes mean there was no more of, no stalling, no more worried about the past. We were moving forward. And so it's one of those things that it carried us to a lot of big time wins this last year because of that mentality that we built. During that off season, we built a lot of competition. During our off season workouts, our speed work, every Thursday we did competition Thursday, whether it was playing basketball, they did dance routines. We did a full on, all of our teams against each other in a round robin with basketball, with dodgeball, with, trying to think of the other one. We were on the football field, and we just kept going round robin of our guys and just trying to teach them to compete. We taught them the game of football. We had new helmets, new kind of decals. We taught them the nutrition and rehabilitation, how to take care of themselves. We only had like one or two guys that we missed throughout the season that missed a game because of, I really truly believe of how hard we worked in the weight room and make sure that we taught these guys how to take care of their bodies. And then we doubled our coaches. So kind of going into, I think the main one, something that I spend a lot of time on and I really love to talk about, and that's building a culture. So we spent 2 to 3 hours going through a curriculum, going through a book of what is it what you want to see in your program? What does it look like to be a leader? How do you take the bull by the horns so it's not just Coach Johnson and the coaches doing everything? How do you all facilitate it? So when you spend that much time, 2 to 3 hours a week with these guys, they heard each other's story. They heard each other's testimony. They now understood what everybody wanted to see in the program, what they wanted to see in leaders, what it meant to be a leader in the program. They wanted to have buy-in. Like I said, we then broke down our gas. We talked about grit. So every time we got together, whether it was a 5 to 10 minute talk or if we spent our entire lunchtime of about an hour, we went through, we watched a video of grit. We defined what grit meant, what it would look like in our program, and just different, we did the 7 C's, winning in the locker room first. We're breaking down chop wood, carry water, all those things of talking about grit and trusting the process. That's what we talked about this year. And then March, all in, was one big thing that was no missing off-season workouts, no missing the summer. Trying to be there as most of the time that you can be, unless you had a family emergency or if you really had something going on. We needed everybody to be there because it's getting everybody on the same page, going in the same direction with the same goal. That's how you build something special. And then we went to Sacrifice for April and kind of talking about, look, you guys are the select elite guys that get to represent Green Hope. You are the group that when you put that football jersey on Fridays, you represent this entire school. So you 50 guys represent the 2,300 students in this school. You represent our principal, you represent our admin, you represent our AD, you represent all those that came before you. So that was one of those things of, this is what you're willing to sacrifice when everybody else has a normal life during the summer. This is what we are doing because we're the elite of the elite of the elite. We're the select few that have taken on that challenge to represent our school. And so one of the things that also the change for me was, I think that the last year I got in there in May, I didn't really know the kids as well as I wanted to. We had a rough season, but I was always like just trying to have a chip on my shoulder instead of, I decided when I came back from Hawaii, like January 20th, I was going to start running the program the way I knew it, stop worrying about what people thought of me in the building. And if I was going to go down and crash and burn, I was going to do it the way that Mitch Johnson likes to do it. And I was going to go in there with energy that I truly believe, and I'll put this on anything that I think a few head coaches can match, the energy that I provide on a daily basis and what I do during the workouts. Like I'm in there with those guys. I'm not up on that pedestal. I'm a selfless servant. I get down into the trenches with these guys, and I truly believe in that. And here's a couple of the pictures of just, it's not all for show. Like, our entire team on our bye week went to the state fair. All right, we all kind of met up. We took pictures. We got to hang out. It's just something that we all wanted to do. The day before that, we went and we did pumpkins. We did all of our team, all of our program. They carved pumpkins, spent time together. And then this other picture is our school had leaders from freshmen and seniors. And our guys were constantly in the front row. This was a picture of our juniors. That is one of our proud classes that our principal sent to us because they broke in half, and that's just half of them, but they're sitting in the front row. So they understood that they're taking that challenge on of being the best of the best in their program and in the school. The next one is talking about our off-season workouts. January 16th was the day we started. We did a max out week. The next week we broke down all of their lifting mechanics, all of their running mechanics. We did speed school. So we did Monday through Thursday, 2:30 to 4, all the way till May 16th when we started our spring ball. We purchased Rat Coach. So these guys got to help me they were, the guinea pigs of the rest times, the setup times, how long is it going to take, the transition times, putting in the workouts, putting in the different lifts, having the videos for it. These guys got to buy in and got to be a part of that. And they know that that's coming very soon again. Then matched our workout program. Now it was a full year of doing it, so now they knew what to expect, when to get the bars ready, what day it was going to be, getting all the equipment ready, so there was no waste of time. Our goal is, as soon as we get with our warm-up, it's 45 to 50 minutes. We're done with our workout. There's no messing around. We'll have a bunch of fun, but we're there to get that workout in. And we're teaching them a mentality as soon as you get into that weight room, all that evil, all that hate, all that heart, all the darkness, get that into your mind right there, and we're going to work hard, and we're going to work out of it, and we're going to go to a whole nother level of being uncomfortable, and just trying to become the best of ourselves. Like I said, we broke down the weight room, make sure they're doing the proper technique. We broke down their running form to make sure there was no false starts, make sure no false steps, make sure that their arms got the right swing. There was no wasted movement, trying to get them faster and become a better athlete. So we were in the weight room, like I said, from our warm up to finishing was about an hour, and then we did 30 minutes of speed agility competition. So that is kind of what we did every Monday through Thursday, and then Thursday started becoming our competition day. Teaching the game of football, developing their football IQ. So this is one of the things that we would get up on the whiteboard and as coaches, and we would teach our positions. We would get up there and we would talk to them about, this is what a hash, this is the numbers, this is how many yards are in on a football field, the width, talking about how far the numbers are from the sideline, talking about that the end zones are 10 yards, talking about how you measure a field goal. All those things, we didn't leave one stone unturned. We wanted to make sure that they understood the game of football when it came to even that type of stuff. So we would do the football 101 class 30 minutes a week. We would talk about different offenses, different defenses, the techniques. This is a zero technique, this is a one technique, this is a 4-eye, talking about the different gaps. All right. Quarterbacks, we talked about different coverages. We talked about when we lock a run, who are we reading? If we're doing a read, who are we reading? What kind of RPO is that? Okay, if they're doing this type of coverage, where will the holes be? Who are you reading? So we did all those things with Football 101. Then we did our QB Academy. QB Academy was intense. We went through everything. So I started to understand what these guys mentally, what they could handle and what they didn't like. So when we went to the field, there was no waste of time. Then we cut off what they could and couldn't do based on their physical attributes, and allowed us to have a lot of success. We did our installs. Okay, here is our formations. Here's where, some tags for position wise. Here's how we're going to do some motions. Here's how we're going to do some shifts. If we had any type of bad weather, we would go and we would walk through our motions, our shifts, when to snap the ball for the quarterback, the different spacing, how to read, who's got grasp, who's going to be open in this coverage, how are we going to go through our progression. Then the best one, I had a lot of fun once we got deeper into the spring ball, getting ready for spring ball, about going to summer, is we made the players get up on the whiteboard, giving them a formation. Hey, here's the coverage. Quarterbacks, what would you run right here? Receivers, what would you like here? What is a different thing that you would look for in running your route? When would you cap it off? When would you think that you would see space for the quarterback? Running back, here's your angles. Is that going to be a long, or is that going to be a short call on power, on buck? Is it going to get logged? Are we taking our L step and cutting up on buck, or is it going to actually be a sweep and we're going to go out to the perimeter? Receivers, when we're running our jet, are you going to have to cut up, or are you going to be able to get to the edge? Hey, is this guy dead for the defense? Is this guy ineligible? Is this guy covered up? So we would go through that, and then we'd do chalk wars. And this was great, is I would give a formation or a different situation, have a quarterback or have a receiver, have a running back. Here's the play. And we look at the defense. Well, if this is what we're seeing, then let's do this coverage. Then defense, start off with how your base or what you would want to call, because this is the time and place. Offense, how would you answer that? So we showed them how to get a game planning. How, hey, if this team is going to play a bunch of cover 3, or if this team's going to play straight up man, what are our man beaters? What are our cover 3 beaters? What are the different details with motions, shifts, formations, concepts that beat those coverages? Defense, how do you take away their best player if he's running back, if he's a slot, if they only line him up on the outside? All right, so those were the type of things that we went through, kind of what it looked like to game plan, taught them the game of football. The biggest one, we went from 5 to 10 coaches and even had another assistant coach. We had parents help us set up. So it did not feel like there was so much on all of us. Every position had a coach that was their position. For the first time in my career, I had a JV head coach, and it wasn't me. For the first time ever, I had a special teams coordinator. It wasn't just me. So it was one of those things that For me, I realized, hey, I'm a big school. We need to have all hands on deck, make sure all the responsibilities, make sure all clean up, make sure all the things to keep our eyes on players, that we could control all that, and it kept everybody accountable. One of the special ones was my dad got to coach with me for the third school. He was with me my first year ever when we broke records at Lake Mead, and he was with me for my last year, but the 2 seasons when we were at Appleton West. So here we are, third time, and it was a charm again. Another playoff run, another over 500. Maybe he's our lucky charm. Who knows? But we'll kind of breaking it down to that. Each position group had their own coach. And that's huge, especially not just on the field, but then, for them to have somebody they connect with that can then tell me information, or that they can tell them, hey, I'm not going to be at practice, so then we can gather information, get practice right. They would come into the weight room, come into all that. So it was one of those things of we had more people that had more buy-in to help lead our guys, so that it wasn't just one voice. We all had one common theme, but it was all of our voices into that common theme, so they could hear everybody's perspective. And we all have different backgrounds, all have different ways that we communicate and interact with the guys. So it really helped us get to that next level. One of the big ones for us was our nutrition, hydration, and rehabilitation. So we kind of started a protein refueling program starting after spring ball. Talked to the parents about it, and so we had protein powder that the guys could have. They could bring their water, they could have milk. Next year, my goal is we're gonna have little chocolate milks, have milk ready for these guys during the summer. And then they had protein bars if they didn't want that. We had fruit, we had popsicles, we had ice cream sandwiches for after competition. Every Thursday we had some type of team bonding, and we would have family members bring in something that would be fun for the guys to eat and to do that team building. We emphasize what a proper diet, nutrition, the amount of protein that they need, how much water they need, the electrolytes. We outline what a pre-practice, post-practice of stretching, what you should eat, foam rolling, when you need to go to the trainer. If you have a boo-boo, what do you need to do when you're at home? How do we communicate that so that we're not missing practice? If you are not being able on the field, what does that look like? What are you doing during practice? If you're sick and you cannot come, okay, what are you going to do to get caught up from there on out? We taught these guys to have more buy-in and how to control their body and control things that they can control. They can control their nutrition. When your coaches start giving you out, 30 to 40 grams of protein a day, okay, that's for your breakfast and like a snack. What can you eat for the rest of the time to refuel your body so you're worth a dang in the next morning? How much do you need to hydrate so that when you wake up in the morning, you're not dehydrated? How much do you need to drink on your way to school? How much should you be drinking during practice? Like all those things of just, don't make it too late so you're cramping. And that was one of the best things as we went to where the last week of July into all of our fall, we practiced at the time we'd be playing games. We didn't deal with any cramping issues. Like I said, we didn't have any injuries in our first 3 or 4 games. So it was one of those things of, these guys understood how to take care of their bodies so that we didn't have all these soft tissue injuries, didn't have concussion injuries. So it really ended up benefiting us to the max. Now, one of the things that I know a lot of people might not believe in it, but I wanted to make sure these guys had a great time. We put up LED lights, got that from Coach Davidiak at RJ Reynolds. Man, that was a great idea. We did it, the kids loved it. So then we also got, light stands, and then also little lights that go across there so it lit up our locker room so that guys could feel kind of cool. And we lit up every Friday night, every Friday for when they would come into school. We also got new jerseys. The guys helped me pick out, green tops, black pants. And then we also got the black game day skin with green wings. So we had 18 different combinations, and we played 11 games. So, but I will tell you, we didn't show off all of them because when we win, I truly am a creature of habit. I am superstitious, and we kept a lot of the different looks. One of the things we had a bunch of pictures. We had a media day. My wife and son and I, we had all afternoon before the guys reported for practice. We took all the guys' pictures, kind of one-on-one groups, and had a media day. And they loved that. It was just one of those things of, look good, play good, but also there was that buy-in, and they felt a part of the program. So we were super excited. We got the new decals. That was the silver chrome wings like Oregon with our GH on the back. Like I said, I already hit up the lights up in the locker room. We did a countdown clock. So we had a countdown for game day. We posted opponent's logo throughout the locker room each week. It's got that kind of from my dad. It was, when they would train for a mission, they had the person's face up there, or the group of guys throughout their entire mission. So you're seeing what the mission is. You're seeing who your enemy is for that week. And so, just kind of like that countdown that's how they did that as well. And so we were kind of bringing that mindset into them. And one of the things I also forgot that we also did is we worked out before a game. We had a whole new game day routine. So we would work out from 2:30 to 3. And we're talking about like med ball slams, very quick hang cleans or power cleans, some benching, some landmine jammers or landmine stuff, and bicep, tricep, and push-ups, pull-ups, just trying to get these guys awake from after school, because Green was a big academic. So you just needed to get them, as soon as that bell rang, they went to the locker room, put their stuff up. They knew that they were working out from 2:30 to 3. Then we would have them gather back up at 3:15. They could go bathroom, get changed, get water, start hydrating before the game. And then we were kind of doing a detailed walkthrough, detailed speeches, whether it was guys gave some speeches, some of the coaches. We didn't do any film. I feel like that would have been too much, but we kind of talked about what our goal was for the night and kind of laid out a little bit of a scouting report to finish up. All that type of stuff of getting ready for your mission, getting ready to go out there and win on Friday, and to reiterate some of the main points that we had for the guys. So then the last thing I'll talk about is kind of, people probably want to know about the X's and the O's. So one of the biggest things is be honest and truthful with what your depth chart is with the guys. Know who your guys are. Figure out what you can do inside your offense, or what do you need to go and research to get the best guys on the field and put them in the best position. Everybody knows I like to sling the ball, and we end up throwing the ball really well this year, but we also end up having, a lot of that was off of RPO, and we had a pretty good run game. I studied a lot to what can give us advantages of using more motion so it's not so stagnant. Okay, getting back to we were good at Buck at other stops. We've always been good at GT. How can we, as a program, get other guys involved with GT, with Buck? How do we protect it? How do we get, the most bang for our buck, no pun intended, with our run game? How do we manipulate it? So I say a bunch with the gun tee, a bunch on different formations, a bunch of different stuff when it came to how to use motions, the different formations, then their RPO game, all that, the lingo, the language, how they broke things down to make it successful for them. So I studied a bunch of the gun tee. The other thing that I studied was spacing. Realized that some of the air raid guys had branched off to it, so I learned a little bit more formations. And then one thing that I really got into was spacing and coming back with the post curl or hink, depending on what you want to call it. So I came back and started learning that and how we could use that in our offense. More ways to maximize our RPO. And then the biggest one was using shifts, motion, and unbalanced stuff a little bit more, giving our guys advantage, trying to also slow down our defense that we're playing, and having them have to break down so many different formations and presenting 2 or 3 different formations every week that was new to them, or different concepts out of those formations that they hadn't seen before, trying to go formations into the boundary, just a bunch of different things, just trying to give eye candy to give our guys a chance. But one of the biggest ones that I will tell you is make sure that you don't try to have a menu when it comes to your system. Figure out what you want to go with. By the end of fall, figure out what is your best 3 to 4 runs, your 3 to 4 quick game, drop back, screens. Have all the formations, motions, shifts, all that you want, but make sure that you know what your kids are good at. Don't have a quarterback that is not mobile and try to make him run quarterback stuff. Okay, it's just not going to be as effective. Instead, have him, if he is a gunslinger, figure out how you can have formations so that there's an automatic pre-snap, screen gift or a hitch gift or a slant gift. Okay, have those RPOs. Figure out what your guys are good at and make them the best player they can be. Because at the end of the day, in our programs, we're all here to make sure that when our guys are with us for the 4 years, by the time they graduate, that they are the best version of themselves and that they're ready to go be successful in life. Same thing on the field. Make sure that you are giving these guys all the ammunition, all the resources, all the confidence that they can be successful on the field, so that you can win games. But at the end of the day, this is what allowed us to be successful. I can share this PowerPoint. I can share ideas. Whatever you would need, please hit me up. Because look, I will tell you this. It was the most humble experience that I ever had. I mean, I had people trolling me on the YouTube video, telling me I sucked. Why are you making these videos? You obviously don't know what you're doing. I had people inside our own school going on there, including former coaches, and trying to say stuff. All right. You have not lived as a coach until you've gone 0-10. I'm telling you right now. But that is where your faith and your circle is going to help you get up. Feel bad for yourself for a little bit, but take a look in the mirror. Figure out, what are you going to do? Take the bull by the horns, and this is your program. You are the man for this job. Look at yourself and tell them that. You are the man for this job, and you will figure it out, okay? But you've got to be honest with yourself about the program, be honest with yourself about everything, and then get everything figured out, all right? And then apply that. But anyways, have a great day, great night, whatever time it is you're watching this, and thank you again for supporting Coach Johnson's YouTube.